Athletes are people too. Sometimes what occurs off the court can affect their play. Meet Jesus Sola Barrieta, or as he's known, Sola. He's a 28-year-old backcourtman from Spain who let the ongoing strike at Bridgeport affect his mental outlook last season.
I didn't have my mind set up to play highlight. I mean, like everybody knows, the strike began. I lost, I mean, not that I lost friends, but 90% of the people I play with, they wasn't playing anymore, you know, so it made me a little bit mad. But this year I forgot about it, and I'm playing great. I have my mind set up just to play highlight and be happy. Like I said before, had a baby girl, and that's the best person I had.
Sola, I believe, so far, he's playing the best season ever in this fronton. Last year and the year before, I don't know what happened. I believe his mind was out of the core, or he didn't have that good season. In prior years, he always played good in this fronton, but again, not like this year. This year, it's so far the best he had.
Sola is playing great highlight and everything is going well. His wife recently had a baby girl named Aranza, and he's fifth in overall wins at the Milford Fronton with 47. Like many players from the Basque region of Spain, Sola started playing highlight at an early age.
I had an accident, a car accident, and I was in the hospital with a broken nose. And my father, he always liked to play highlight, but he couldn't because the civil war, the war started in Spain that time. So he had to go to Belgium. The kids, the Basque kids, send the, you know, the parents send the Basque kids to Belgium and all over Europe. So they wasn't involved in the war. So he couldn't play highlight, but he always had a small basket, and he bring it to me to the hospital. And I watch some people play, and I really like it, and I start playing against walls and stuff, and I got into it.
The way Sola is playing, he could conceivably finish in the top 5 in Opens.
I hope he'll be there, but will be tough, because, well, the way he's doing it, he can do it.
Sola is keeping pace with the leaders. He has 7 wins in his last 10 performances. And now it's time for the game of the week. The players earn their way into this game by accumulating points for wins, places, and shows. The players are paired together randomly, and their post positions are also randomly selected. In order to eventually determine the Sports Channel Game of the Week season champions, we've awarded players points based on their performance in this featured attraction. After 7 weeks, Roger is the top point getter in the front court. He has a win and 2 places. And Peggy, the only 2-time winner in this event, is the leading point getter in the backcourt. And now, closing odds for the game of the week. Inclan, who has been red hot of late, is teamed with Pelosa and is the 9-5 favorite. Sortizabal and Pedroso are the second choice at 3-1, while JC and Doggy are sent off at 5-1. There is spectacular 7 scoring in this highlight event. Points are worth 1 in the first round, and when everyone has had a chance to play, they're worth 2. The team to reach 7 points first wins. The team of JC and Augie quickly sat down David and Art in post 2, before losing to Zubikar and Don in post 3. Post 3 went on a mini roll. Here they're playing Stephen Cruz in post 4. Here Don runs down this soft lob off the front wall, fires it deep into the back court, and the rebote is taken by Cruz. Here's the catch by Zubikarai. He fires this shot deep and right into the crack. Score another point for the 3. Next up is the team of Sortizabal and Pedroso in post 5. Here Zubikarai takes this rebote right before it hits the screen, places it inside for a winner. The 3 has 1 more. The team of Sortizabal and Pedroso, who were world amateur champions a few years ago representing France, sit down. Zubikarai and Don have 3 straight points and put themselves in pretty good position with a chance to reach game point if they get up again. Here they take on the 6th team of James II and Roland. James catches the ball on his forehand, backs up, fires one into the backcourt. The shot is not handled by Don. The 3 sits down, the 6 is on the board. Next up is the very dangerous team of Inclán and Tolosa in post 7. James is careful with the serve because Inclán can pick it off and throw a winner. He does just that, fires the backhand carom, score the point for the 7. James and Roland in post 6 sit down. Here's a pickup by Acre as Baleka and Acre in the 8 come up. Inclán throws this shot into the backcourt. Acre throws the rebote too high out of bounds. Score another point for the 7. That completes the first round of play. Next up is the team of David and Art in post 2. The strategy here for the 7 will be to work on early game backcourt Menard. They do it once. He fires the return to Inclán on the forehand and again peppers it right to Art. This time he can't handle. Post 7 has a couple more. Next up, the team of JC and Augie in post 1. Here's Inclán. He takes the backhand, throws the inside placement. It's too hard. JC runs it down, throws this shot that Inclán can't pull in on his forehand. Post 7 sits down. The 1 now takes on the team of Steve and Cruz in post 4. A key point, if the 1 gets this one, they have a chance to get the game point. But JC underserves. He's been known to do that. The 1 sits down, the 4 is on board. Next up is the team of Sortizabal and Pedroso in post 5. Great teamwork here as Pedroso calls the ball to Sortizabal, lets it go. The rebote by Sortizabal. Cruz is waiting in the backcourt, can't handle on his forehand. Post 5 has a pair of points. They then take on Zubikarai and Don in post 3. Scored 3 points the first time up, could reach game point here. Here's a backhand carom by Zubikarai. Pedroso runs it down on the wood, throws this ball back to Don. Out of his reach, the 5 has a couple more. The 5 on a little bit of a roll. They take on James and Roland in post 6. Here's the serve from Sortizabal. The ball is taken by Roland in the backcourt on his forehand. He fires hard. Here's the pickup by Sortizabal. He goes to the inside, but Roland is... He fires one back too high out of the reach of Pedroso. The points go to post 6. Now let's take a look at the scoreboard. You'll see that many teams right now are close to game point. But because of the round-robin format, they may not get a chance to come back up. This is a key point for post 6 because looming on the horizon is the team of Inclán and Tolosa in post 7 with 4 points, and they could come up again. James starts off the serve and he gives it to Acre right on his forehand. Here's an awkward catch by James, lobs it off the front wall. It lands just inside the line. The points go to post 6, and now James and Roland in post 6 have 5 points. Since the points count 2 and the 6 has 5, this will be possible game point for James and Roland in post 6. A key right here is they'll have to beat the team of David and Art in post 2, and those are 2 early game players. The serve goes to David. He then fires one into the backcourt. Roland lets it go, and James takes it in the front court. The rebote is high. Could have been interference, but Art goes for the ball in the backcourt, makes the catch, throws on his forehand. Here's the catch by Roland on his forehand. He tries to pepper Art, but it's cut off by David. Backhand sends it deep. Roland on the forehand right in the back corner, sends it high off the wall. David can't make this catch. James and Roland, winners of the Sports Channel Game of the Week from post 6.
Oh, now I feel very relaxed, very happy. But about 5 minutes ago, it was another story. And, you know, $250 more. It's really going to help, maybe to bring a new car.
A lucky shank brought post 6 the game point.
Well, that ball came off, I don't even remember who threw that ball, Acre's forehand. He threw it front wall, side wall, and it came off the side wall. Instead, you know, you'd like to catch the ball right here. And it came off, and I got it right here. But I've caught a few of those like that, and I've learned how to keep the ball in the basket. But when you catch it here, you just want to get rid of it, and, you know, you don't want to miss the ball. So I caught it here, I was off balance, and I threw it, and I missed the front wall first. And when you hit the side wall, the ball goes towards the outside, and it just happened to stay in.
We're back with another edition of Talking High Life, and I'm here with with Bob Huesler of Milford Highline. Bob, we're going to talk about a subject that we touched upon last week, and that's team play. A lot of fans come to the Fronton, stare at the program, and see a team that is made up of two world-class players and say, well, this team has to win. But that isn't always the case. Why?
No, it's not always the case, Jeff. And you talk about looking at the program and seeing a team which you would suspect has to win the game. We're going to have that example on this evening's Sports Channel Game of the Week. There's a team in the game in Post 7, Inclan and Alorza. Inclan, a superstar in the front court, Alorza, a superstar in the back court. And I'll be honest with you, if they don't win the game, I would be very surprised. But in the spectacular 7th game of Highlight, in which you score 1 point in the first round, and then in the second round, all the points double. I hate to use a cliche, but anything can and does happen. Highlight is a game in which you have point after, or I should say, throw after catch, repeatedly. Any mistake will sit you down, and once you sit down, you don't come back again until all the other 7 teams have played. And so in the case of Inclan and Alorza, they make one mistake early, they may not get back up again. That's all it takes is one mistake. The other thing is you don't always have the compatibility factor. And I'm not saying that in this case Inclan and Alorza are not compatible partners. I believe coming into this game they have played 11 times on the season and have won 3 of those games, and that's not a bad percentage. But just because you have 2 superstars doesn't mean they're going to mesh. We'll see what happens in this game.
I know you talked to Alorza II before the Sports Channel Game of the Week, and he gave you some sort of idea as how he's going to approach the game. What did he say?
Well, Alorza is a very aggressive player, and he's one of the few backcourters on our roster who can actually kill the point consistently. But with Inclan, he says what he does is he'll try to lay back and let Inclan dictate the offensive pace of the game. Alorza's strategy is to not make any mistakes, and so he won't take any chances, whereas perhaps with another front court partner, he might be more willing to go out on a limb. He won't do that in this game.
Let's talk about some of the great teams that you've seen in your years of watching Highlight, but I think it's good to let the fans know that sometimes you take 2 players who aren't really dominant by themselves, and you put them together, and suddenly they become a dominant team. Why does that happen?
Well, let me use an example. There was a team that used to play at Milford, Zuleika and Vonnegut. Annually, we used to have a tournament with Hartford Highlight, and Zuleika and Vonnegut used to wipe up in this tournament. Now, Zuleika and Vonnegut were very, very good players. Not superstars, but close to it. But you put these 2 together, and it was amazing how they meshed, like hand and glove. Zuleika would kill the points, and Boney would save the points. And I've never seen anything like it in Highlight. They would take on teams which, if you took it individually, talent-wise, Zuleika and Vonnegut couldn't compare. But you put them together, and it was really no contest. And what happens is you just have that special chemistry like you would have in any other sport. We also see it in Highlight.
We'll be back next week with another edition of Talking Highlight. Here are this week's Fronton figures. Inclan got off to a slow start this season, but recently he's been on fire. The 28-year-old native of Mexico has climbed to the top in games won with 54. Bolivar, who is the leading game winner at the Fronton for the first 8 weeks, is second with 53. Middle game player Acre continues to play good Highlight in the backcourt. He's third with 51 victories. Alfonso is a great partner to have. Of the top 5 teams, he's a member of 3 of them. The top quinella for the week was the 1-5. The top exactas were the 1-2 and the 2-5. For the year, the top trifectas at the Milford are the 6-2-5 and the 8-3-6. Here are the top post positions for the season. Post 6, where some of the best players are usually seated, leads with 149 hits. Post 1, which is one of the easiest posts to win from, is second with 145 hits. In any sport, the officials are an integral part of the game, and the same is true in Highlight. There are 3 judges positioned along the court. The front court judge stands at the underserve line. He's responsible for determining whether a ball lands between lines 4 and 7. The backcourt judge stands at the serve line, and the chief judge stands in the middle. All three are responsible for determining whether it's in bounds or out of bounds and whether or not there have been any infractions on the court. Alai officials are ex-players, and the Milford judges have a wealth of experience.
Nothing is easy, but we know more or less because we play highlight before and we know how is the game going on. So there is some tough calls to make, like holdings and the players change the positions. Because some players, they are smart. I mean smart, they know how to make the movements, but another players, they don't know how to do it. Maybe they try it, but they cannot do it. So it's tough to make some calls.
The more controversial calls an official has to make is a control foul.
Well, control foul is hard sometimes because the ball, when come out from the basket, not always come out in the same way. Sometimes the ball runs inside the basket and goes inside again. That is not like fumble. You cannot really control that ball because the ball makes that motion. So it's not really a fumble. But the foul in the control is when you catch the ball and the ball goes inside and jump outside, and you can see clear all the ball outside.
Of course, alai officials endure the comments from unhappy fans and from players, who sometimes take the calls personally.
Because they keep personal, you know, they think if you call a holding or something like that, you got something against the...
Yeah, they think we are against them. And they take inside the heart.
Yeah.
They take inside the heart.
They don't forget you, no.
They don't forget you for the rest of your life, maybe.
What I'd like to know is what are some of the injuries that the highlight players receive?
Common injuries to a highlight player. Well, I'll tell you this right off the top of the bat. You come and watch a highlight game and you may think that the ball itself would present a great danger to a highlight player. Number one, because the ball is traveling so fast, and number two, because the ball is so hard. But the fact of the matter remains that the ball does not really cause all that many injuries. If you're a highlight player, you have really two basic enemies. Number one, that is the court itself, and number two, that is the motions of the game itself. Now the court. A highlight court is primarily made of concrete. You have concrete to the left of you with the side wall, you have concrete below you with the concrete floor, and obviously you slam into that stuff and you're gonna suffer some bumps and bruises, sometimes of a serious nature. The other thing which creates a lot of injuries is the motions of the game. You are constantly in motion with the left side of your body, with the right side of your body, and also with obviously with the wrist and with the shoulders. And so what that results in often are muscle pulls and various ligament strains. And in fact, if I were to list the most common injuries at Milford Alai, I would start, first of all, with the muscle pulls, both of the leg and sometimes in the back. Then you would progress to the shoulder and the arm. You have a lot of ligament injuries in the wrist. You have a lot of elbow strains and also shoulder strains. So injuries to any athlete, just because of the stresses of the game, are the same kinds of injuries which occur here on a highlight court.
Here is the Milford Alai injury report. Mike Gatos suffered multiple facial fractures when he was struck by a pelota. It's an unusual accident, but it does occasionally occur. It's not likely he'll be back before September. Early game player Robert Macalino injured his hand July 18th, and when he'll be back. Siobhan Alcorta suffered a groin injury July 19th, and as a result, he was forced to miss last week's game of the week. He's also out indefinitely. Hard work and dedication pay off in any endeavor, and no one knows that better than Eddie Acre, a 6'2" backcourtman from Bridgeport, Connecticut. After 8 weeks, he finds himself among the leading game winners at the Milford Fronton.
The first few days of the season, I wasn't playing well. Then I got back into it. I started playing my game, and things started working for me. I was pretty lucky sometimes. Other times, I worked pretty hard. I played pretty well.
Acre is a kind of player that when the first time he started playing here, I saw in him a lot of potential to be a good player. And this year, he's showing me what I thought in the beginning. His strength, in my opinion, is his backhand. He has a very strong backhand. And he a lot in his catching ability. And that's the reason I believe he's so successful so far.
Acre has been playing professionally for 2.5 years, but began playing the game in 1976.
I got started, I came to Bridgeport in '76 in May, and I started playing in August of '76. I bought a basket from a sports shop in Bridgeport, sort of playing against a wall, and I went from there. Then the amateur place opened up in about '81, and I started playing there in tournaments and so forth. And then in '88, got a call from Bridgeport and started playing at Bridgeport.
Acre is a relaxed individual who likes to keep his fellow players loose and in good spirits.
I try to have a good time. You know, at any job you want to have fun, and sometimes here you got more long faces than happy faces. You got 7 people or 7 teams that are unhappy and one that's happy. So I just try to have fun. You know, why not?
He is talkative on the court and realizes how important it is to communicate with your partner.
But communicating with your partner when you're on the court, you want to let him know, since I'm in the backcourt, I want my front courtman to know where I am at all times in case he's going to make a tough catch, and it's going to be easy for me. And I want him to know if I'm going to catch the ball in the air, or I want him to do the rebote. So if he's too close to the back wall and he thinks I'm going to ID the ball, catch it in the air, and it bounces and goes over his head, I want to make sure that doesn't happen. I want to be in constant communication with him, you know, as much as possible. Some things don't even need to be said. Some things are just, you know, taken for granted that that's his ball or that's my ball. But if a situation arises, you know, we're going to talk it up. You know, the teams that communicate with each other have a better shot than the teams that don't communicate with each other.
Acre is third in overall wins with 51, only 2 behind the leader Inclan. And now it's time for the Game of the Week. This weekly contest features the top performers at the Milford Fronton. The top backcourtmen and the top frontcourtmen are randomly paired together, and the post positions are also randomly chosen. This is an interesting event because early game players often find themselves paired together with late game players they normally wouldn't play with. Here are this week's closing odds. The team of Inclan and Elorza in post 7 opened at 1-9 and eventually settled as the even money favorites. Interestingly, the fans made early game players Greg and Don in post 2 the 9-2 second choice. The team of Pedraire and Roland were sent off at 6-1. There is spectacular 7 scoring in the Game of the Week. In the first round, the points are worth 1 point, and whenever it has 1 turn, the points then double. The team to score 7 points first wins. The game starts out with Pedraire and Roland in post 1 taking on Greg and Don in post 2. Here Don sends one to the outside. Pedraire is there to pull it down. He sends one deep, and Don backs up and makes the catch. He fires one hard. Pedraire takes it in on his left side, sends one deep, but too high out of bounds off the rear wall. Score the first point for post 2. We now pick up the action later in the first round. Post 4, Bucci and Art were the only team to put anything together. They won 2 points. Here we have post 7, Inclan and Elorza playing the 6, David and Acre. David can't handle this shot, and the 7 is on the board. Inclan and Elorza, the heavy favorites in this game, could be on their way to a run out. But Inclan overserves, score the point for the 8. That completes the first round of play. Starting the second round, the A team takes on post 1 Pedraire and Roland back up again. Here Roland tries to take advantage of early game player Aziz, bounces it over his head. The 1 takes a pair of points. Next up, post 2 Greg and Don. Here's a fine save by Pedraire. Don is there for the catch. He sends one deep off the back wall. Roland can't handle the rebote. The 2 has 2 points. In what has become a major matchup in this game, post 1 and post 2 have met twice, with post 2 taking the point both times. Next up is the three, Raphael and Adam. Here, Adam pulls this ball in the backcourt, sends one high off the front wall. Don is there for the catch on his left side. He, in turn, sends one deep that Adam can't handle. The two has a couple more. The points count two. The two has 5. Possible game point for Greg and Don in post 2. They have a chance now to take this week's Sports Channel Game of the Week. Don makes the catch in the backcourt, fires one high off the front wall, but out of bounds off the cage. Post 2 sits down as the discouraged Greg and Don walk off the court. The 5 takes on the 4, Bucci and Art. Here's a rebote by Restock. Could have been interference, but Art makes an attempt, can't pull the ball in. Score the points for the 5. Next is Team 6, David and Acre. Here's a rebote by Acre, which eventually out of bounds, and suddenly the team of Restock and Gray has reeled off 3 straight double points to give them 6 impossible game points. Is the dangerous team of Inclan and Elorza in post 7. Restock whiffs on that rebote, and the 7 has a pair of points. Inclan and Elorza, who many people thought would run this game right out, get a second shot, but here Inclan serves to Zubikarai, who throws the inside placement, and the team of Inclan and Elorza have sat back down. They might not come up again. Zubikarai and Aziz in post 8 take on Team 1, Pedraire and Roland, up for the 3rd time. Here, backcourtman Roland fires one deep, again working on Aziz. He catches it on his backhand. He fires one into the backcourt, and Roland is there. Again, Roland working on Aziz. He makes contact, but can't make the catch. The ball was touched by the backman Aziz, and the points go to post. Pedrario and Roland in post 1, now with 2 double points, and they have 4, putting themselves in a pretty good position. Roland has been pretty successful in the game of the week in intimidating early game front quarters with his power, and he'll have a chance here to face a couple of early gamers in a row. Here's Raphael and Adam in post 3, and surprisingly, Roland is keeping the ball away from Raphael. Here's Adam with the catch. He sends one back. Roland will be there in the backcourt to pull it in. Again, past Raphael to Adam. This time on his forehand, Adam sends it back to the front wall. Pedrario will be there for the reverse. Sends one deep. Adam can't make the catch. The 1 has a couple more. Suddenly, Pedrario and Roland in post 1 have 6 points. Greg and Don, who had game point earlier with 5, are back up again. We have a game cannot proceed situation. For the Sports Channel Game of the Week, it's Pedrario and Roland in post 1, taking on Greg and Don in post 2. Pedrario starts the point off with the serve. Here's Don on the reverse, sending one deep. Roland with the great rebote save that may have saved the game for Pedrario and Roland in post 1. If the 1 takes this game, Roland will be the first back-to-back winner in the game of the week. Here's Don making a catch in the backcourt, fires one away from Roland, but it's too low out of bounds. Pedrario and Roland, winners of the game of the week.
Everybody was kind of scared of the 7 team, and they were the most powerful team out there. And once they got it once and they didn't get going, everybody else, it was up to them, you know. 2 other teams had possible, and they couldn't finish it, and luckily we got up again and finished it, you know. I'm playing with a good backcourter, and he's, if not the best, one of the best here. And like I said, you don't have to do much with him. Just be consistent and catch what you're supposed to, and let everything else go, because he'll in the backcourt, and he gets you out of jams like that, and then that's it. He just puts the point away for you. Like I said, with Roland, those guys really don't have much of a chance if he gets that right side, you know. And the last point, Don had to throw something to me. He couldn't give it back to him, because I think if he would have given it back to Roland, Roland probably would have put him away. That was Don's only chance, was to throw it outside to me. Hopefully I missed it, but for us, luckily it went too low, and we won the game.
That concludes another edition of Inside Milford Highline. This Friday night, August 3rd, Milford Highline gives away a grand total of $10,000 in cash. 5 people will win $1,000, while 1 lucky winner will walk away with the everyone, I'm Jeff Holtz, and welcome to another edition of Inside Milford Highline. There's nothing more exciting than spending a hot summer night at the Fronton for the world's fastest ball game. You can feel the excitement and sense the anticipation in the air as people start heading into the Fronton. Alai, a fast and colorful sport that can leave your heart racing as you watch the athletic ability of some of the best players in the game. Alai, you can't get enough of it.
I like alai because it's an action-packed sport. There's suspense in every point, and you never know. You can go from being a winner to a loser in 2 seconds or opposite, and you can also win big.
Fast game, great action, just fantastic players, a lot of acrobatics.
I like alai for the crowds, the excitement, and the color.
I like alai because it combines many aspects of different sports. It's sort of like tennis. It's almost like baseball to some extent. And it brings out a certain athleticism in the athletes, and you can see the intensity. And they have to maintain a certain level of concentration that in other sports is often lacking.
I like alai because it's an action-packed sport. It's a game we could bet on that you don't really have to handicap, and you're never out of it until the end of the game.
Because it's the most intricate sport I've ever seen while I'm at highlights tonight and while watching it on Sports Channel at home in New York City.